Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability. So we have 6 core canons of the CIPRA. Canon 1, Independence. Canon 2, Propriety. Canon 3, Fidelity. Canon 4, Competence and Diligence. Canon 5, Equality. And Canon 6, Accountability. Okay, so 6 canons lahat to. Okay, for the duties and responsibilities of lawyers, so we have here no integrity as central principle no in the preamble of the CIPRA. May preamble eh. It introduces integrity as the foundational core of the entire legal profession. It defines integrity as the sum total of all the ethical values that every lawyer must embody and exhibit. So when we say integrity, this means that you will do what is right, no? Even though no one is looking, no? Kahit walang nakatingin, gagawin nyo pa rin ang tama. Alright? So a lawyer with true integrity must act with independence, propriety, fidelity, competence, and diligence, equality, and accountability. So the applicability of CIPRA, Section 1 establishes that the CIPRA applies immediately to all pending and future cases. However, it provides a safety mechanism. If the Supreme Court finds that retroactively applying the CIPRA to a pending case is unfeasible or would result in a manifest injustice, the older procedural framework, yung CPR, yung dati, no, under which the case was originally filed will govern. So titinan muna, no? So general rule, this is applicable to pending and future cases. However, no, if it will result to injustice, i-apply yung governing law at the time of the commission of the offense or yung administrative offense. Okay, for the repealing clause, Section 2 completely dismantles and replaces old ethical frameworks. It explicitly repeals the Code of Professional Responsibility of 1988. No? Furthermore, it amends and supersedes the old text of the lawyer's oath found in Rule 138. You know, during my time, no, ang inaral namin itong old Code of Professional Responsibility. Yan yung aral namin during my law school. Pero ito sa inyo, bago na ito, CIPRA. So the CIPRA officially took effect 15 calendar days after its complete publication in the official gazette or in any newspaper of general circulations. Effective siya kailan? May 29, 2023. So ito naabot nyo na, right? So ano nyo tong CIPRA? Yan na yung naaral nyo during your law school. Ayan, ano na ako niyan? 2023, abogado na ako niyan, 2023. Okay. Another mock bar drill. Yan. Is her contention correct? Ano bang contention na yan? Sino ba yan? An administrative case for gross neglect of duty was filed against Attorney Mara in 2022 under the old Code of Professional Responsibility or the CPR. The case remained pending. Pending siya until 2024 when the new Code of Professional Responsibility was promulgated. Attorney Mara argues that the new CIPRA cannot be applied to her because doing so would violate the constitutional prohibition against the retroactive application of laws, especially since the CIPRA introduces heavier fines and clear-cut classifications of serious offenses. Is her contention correct? What is the suggested answer? Attorney Mara? No, Attorney Mara's contention is incorrect. Why? Because under the transitory provision of the CIPRA, the new code explicitly applies to all pending and future cases. Admin disciplinary proceedings against lawyers are sui generis and do not partake in the nature of criminal prosecution. Hence, the strict constitutional bar against ex post facto laws does not automatically apply to bar discipline, no? Kaya wala yung mga ex post facto law yan kasi sui generis yan eh. Supreme Court ang pwedeng provide ng mga rules governing lawyers. Here, Attorney Mara cannot invoke the constitutional prohibition against ex post facto laws because bar discipline is not a criminal proceeding. CIPRA's transitory provision expressly covers pending matters. Thus, the new classifications and penalty apply retroactively to her case. So the only exception is that if she can conclusively show to the Supreme Court that applying CIPRA to her specific circumstance would be completely unfeasible or would work a manifest injustice which she has not established merely by pointing out the heavier fines. Hence, Attorney Mara's contention is incorrect. Okay, so take note ha yung exceptions natin dyan, no? If it would be completely unfeasible or would work and manifest injustice. Yun lang yung exceptions. Okay, now, let's proceed with the canons. Okay, mahaba-haba itong canons. However, I will not discuss all of the sections, no? Kasi baka bukas pa tayo matatapos. So um, I only incorporated, no, those important provisions, no? So for Canon 1, independence, so this comprised of 5 sections. Canon 1 mandates that a lawyer must discharge their professional duties without any improper influence, restriction, pressure, or interference. Okay, so yun yung independence, no? So kapag ang topic about the independence of a lawyer, ano, dapat the lawyer must discharge their professional duties without, without o yan yung inyong, mnemonics, pre, pressure, restriction, improper influence, interference. Dapat wala lahat yan. Okay? Walang pre. Section 1, independent, accessible, efficient, and effective legal service. So Section 1 requires representation of indigents and a higher standard of service to vulnerable persons and to the EULA's obligations. So a lawyer who takes on a pro bono client referred by a legal aid clinic but handles the case indifferently because there is no fee dahil walang bayad, ayaw mo nang magbigay nung mag-work competently may ma-violate ka, no? So sabi dyan, but handles the case indifferently because there is no fee, has satisfied accessibility and failed, no, independence, efficiency, and effectiveness. Dapat dyan has not satisfied no accessibility and failed independence, efficiency, and effectiveness. A lawyer who is effective but whose fee structure and practices make him reachable only by a narrow segment of society has failed no accessibility. Take note ha, may dyan, may kulang na word dyan sa after nung there's no fee, no? Has not satisfied yan, accessibility. No? Kasi pinipili niya lang kung walang bayad, hindi na siya mag-render effectively. So, na-violate niya ito. Canon 1. What else? Section 2, merit-based practice. So, a lawyer must rely solely on the merits of a cause and never exert improper influence upon court. So, there are 3 things forbidden here, no? First, exerting influence on the court, tribunal, or other government agency. Siyempre, bawal yan, no? Or what else? Giving the appearance of any such influence. O take note ha, giving the appearance. Kahit na hindi mo talaga balak mag-influence, pero pinapakita mo sa iyong kliyente o sa ibang tao ng appearance only of giving influence, bawal agad yan, no? So a lawyer may violate this section without any actual influence having been exerted and without any official having been improperly approached. As long as yung appearance itself, no, prohibited na. What else? Undermining the authority of the court, tribunal, or agency or its proceedings, no? So the phrase or give the appearance of is the key, no? Examinable language. So pwede itanong to sa inyong bar exam pag appearance lang, no? Pasok na siya rito. It serves as the textual basis for jurisprudence penalizing lawyers who claim to have influence over judges or advertise their closeness to the judiciary or assure clients that the case will be won because of personal connections rather than the merits of the law. So, wag kayo magsabi ng ganyan. Wag din kayo mag-assure sa inyong kliyente. No, always lagi, merit-based lagi. Ano ba yung merits ng client's cause? Yun lagi ang basihan, no? Not because of influence or connections. So, the violation is complete, no? Once the lawyer's conduct creates the appearance of improper influence or special access to the courts. Okay? What else? Section 3, no? Freedom from improper considerations and external influence. What else? Non-interference by a lawyer and lawyer's duty and discretion in procedures. So a lawyer shall not allow, no, the client to dictate or determine the procedure in handling the case. Nevertheless, a lawyer shall respect the client's decision to settle or compromise the case after explaining its consequences to the client. So take note of this, no? Kapag sa procedure, sabi dyan, hindi pwede na ang client ang magdidictate for the procedural aspect, but for the substantive aspect, no? For example, sabi ng kliyente nyo, isettle ko na lang attorney, i-compromise na lang natin tong civil case, no? Total civil case naman yan, no? So, yung mga um, cases that can be compromised, no? Sabi ng kliyente, i-compromise na lang natin. Ikaw, as a lawyer, you need to respect, no? Yun ang gusto ng kliyente mo eh. No, wag mo ipagpilitan yung gusto mo. Natapusin yung civil case na yan, no? So you need to respect kapag substantive aspect. But in terms of procedure, lawyer ang masusunod. Okay? So yan, substantive matters. A lawyer must respect the client's decision on substantive issues. Okay? But for procedural matters, a client cannot dictate procedural steps. So clear tayo dyan ha sa distinction, no? Substantive matters versus procedural. Sino? Kliyente, isa ay lawyer dapat. Okay? Contemporary issue. Clients demanding their lawyers file frivolous motions to harass opponents or demanding the lawyer use political connections to secure favorable judge. So, pwedeng contemporary issue yan, modern issue. Meaning, no, baka may mga lawyers ngayon, sinasabi nila, meron silang political connection. Diba? What else? A lawyer should not espouse a belief that the judicial system can be bought, no? Much less contribute to the perpetuation of such beliefs. So, wag na lang sabihin na pwedeng bayaran si ganito, bayaran si ganyan. Nangyayari yan, kaya ako nilagay yan sa contemporary issue. Pero maling-mali yun. Okay? Wag na wag niyong gagawin. MacBar drill. Will the complaint prosper? Let's read. Mr. Tycoon hired Attorney Lex to handle a collection suit against a business rival. Knowing that the rival was running out of funds, Mr. Tycoon instructed Attorney Lex to file multiple repetitive motions for postponement to delay the trial and bleed the rival dry. O, diba? Ay, kasi mayaman si Tycoon eh. Kayang-kaya niyang i-delay, no? Attorney Lex refused, stating that the motions lack legal merit. Furious, Mr. Tycoon fired Attorney Lex and filed an administrative complaint against him for insubordination and breach of a lawyer's duty of fidelity. O, the question is, will the complaint prosper? O, ano sa tingin nyo? Ano ba yung pinapagawa sa kanya? Mag-file daw ng multiple repetitive motions. So, procedural yan, right? O, tinanggihan ni Attorney Lex. O, tama ba siya? Mag-prosper ba yung complaint sa kanya, Attorney Tycoon? The answer is no. The administrative complaint against Attorney Lex will not prosper. Under the CIPRA, specifically Canon 1, Section 5, a lawyer shall not allow the client to dictate or determine the procedure in handling the case. A lawyer is bound to act with independence and must not encourage the filing of any suit or proceeding without evidentiary support nor unduly impede the execution of a warranted order or abuse court process. In this case, Attorney Tycoon's instruction to file multiple repetitive motions to delay the proceedings constitutes an abuse of court process. So Attorney Lex correctly exercised his procedural independence by refusing to file the frivolous motion. So tama siya kasi procedural aspect lang yan eh. So therefore, Attorney Lex committed no ethical violation and the complaint for insubordination must be dismissed. Okay? Okay, so bar tip. So whenever a bar problem presents a client dictating something to a lawyer, so the answer must always in two parts. So the lawyer must not surrender control of procedure and strategy, but the decision to settle, to compromise, to plead guilty, or to accept an offer belongs to the client pag gusto niyang gano'n, no? The lawyer must respect it after explaining the consequences. So take note ha, no, the lawyer must respect it after explaining the consequences. So you still have the obligation to explain the effects or the consequences of the client's choice. All right? So when you read this, read together with Canon 3, Section 8 about the encouragement of settlement, and then Canon 3, Section 4, authority of a lawyer to bind the client. So a lawyer may not compromise the client's litigation without special authority. So in any compromise proceeding class, dapat merong consent pa rin yung client. Hindi pwede na lawyer lang mismo ang magde-decide kung magkano ang kanyang gustong isettle or i-compromise, Kasi substantive matter yan eh. So the lawyer need to inform his or her client. Next, Canon 2, So 44 sections lahat, no, under Canon 2. So this is about propriety. So mahaba-haba, 44 sections. Okay, Canon 2 governs a lawyer's conduct both in their physical and virtual interactions. It requires lawyers to maintain the dignity of the legal profession. So ito yung bago, no, sa CIPRA, no, may virtual interactions, governed na yan ng CIPRA. A lawyer shall at all times act with propriety and maintain the appearance of propriety in personal and professional dealings. So take note ng mga naka-bold, no, bold face. Act with propriety and maintain the appearance of propriety in personal and professional dealings. Observe honesty, respect, and courtesy, and uphold the dignity of the legal profession consistent with the highest standards of ethical behavior. O, diba? Ang taas ng expectation sa ating mga lawyers, no? Dapat mataas, no? Highest standards of ethical behavior kahit na sa personal dealings. So here, since mahaba-haba ito, no? 44 sections under Canon 2, so you may cluster these sections kasi same lang din yung kanilang topics. Okay, so for sections 1 to 7, that is about the personal conduct. So the governing idea there, how the lawyer behaves, no, should be lawful, with dignity, without abuse, in dignified language, and with decorum. Oh, for sections 8 to 12 and 16, candor to the tribunal. So what the lawyer may say and must disclose to courts and agencies. Okay, so dapat proper. And then, conduct toward the bench and the bar. Okay, so imputations against fellow lawyers, grievances against officers, claim of influence and encroachment. And then what else? Publicity. Okay, this is about the solicitation, advertising or self-promotion or sub judice, no? Publicity, court relations or disclosure relationship, giving gift, exploitation of the ignorant, or forum shopping. So sections 20 to 23 yan. And then what else? Yung mga governing rules about solo practice, government service, academe, paralegals, o pag yan ang question, no? Section 25 to 35. And then ito, kung contemporary issue ang pinag-uusapan, ito yung pwedeng itanong. Actually, this was also asked in 2024 bar exam about the use of social media. No, this is the CIPRA signature innovation. So, basahin nyo yan, sections 36 to 44 about the responsible use of social media. So, that is a modern or contemporary issue. Okay. So, for section 1, no, under Canon 2, ito yung catch-all provision. A lawyer shall not engage in unlawful, dishonest, immoral, or deceitful conduct. So kung makalimutan nyo kung specific provision, ilagay nyo na lang din to para magkaroon kayo ng points. No? You did. Okay? A lawyer shall not engage in unlawful, dishonest, immoral, or deceitful conduct. So illustration. A lawyer who maintains an extramarital relationship or fathers a child or abandons the family, no, has engaged in grossly immoral conduct. No, this is a classic disbarment scenario. So a lawyer who issues a bouncing check in a purely private transaction, no, or deliberate failure to pay debts, no, even no client is involved, pwede nyo pa rin ma-violate, no? This is a violation of the CIPRA. Okay, so kahit na personal conduct niya yan. Ang daming bar questions about that. Alright? So in his personal life, the lawyer must remember that he must uphold the legal profession and bound by the highest standards of ethical behavior because he cannot separate his personal life and his professional life as a lawyer. Hindi mo naman kasi mahati katawan mo. No, ito pang personal ka lang, ito pang professional. Hindi. No? So, be very careful, no, when you become lawyers, no? Kayong gagawa ng kasamaan, no? Even in personal life. Always live uprightly. Right. Sections 3 and 4, this is about the safe environment and gender-fair language. So lawyers are prohibited from engaging in gender-based harassment or discrimination and must use dignified, gender-fair, and child and culturally sensitive language. O, diba ngayon, in-encourage na, meron tayong rules, no? In gender-fair language. There is an administrative matter governing the use of gender-fair language. So, yan na yung contemporary also, mga napapanahon ng mga rules, no, regulations. Illustration. So, a senior partner who repeatedly makes sexual remarks to associates in the office Pantry violates Section 3 even if no complaint is filed by any of them because the section prescribes the creation of the environment, no? Not merely a completed act against an identified victim. So kahit na walang specific victim na sinasabihan ng sexual remarks, kahit na sa environment lang, sa office lang, no, nagsasabi ng mga ganitong indecent, no, remarks, yung isang partner, na-violate niya na ito. Kasi lawyers are prohibited from what? Engaging, no? Or having, or creating, no? This environment. Dapat safe environment. Okay? What else? Under Canon 2, Section 8, a lawyer shall not misquote, misrepresent, or mislead the court regarding the existence or contents of any document, law, or authority. So this is highly relevant with the advent of AI-generated pleadings citing fake jurisprudence. O pwede itong itanong sa inyong bar exam because again, this is a contemporary issue with the proliferation or with the advent of AI tools. Now, meron ng recent case about dyan, no? Na yung isang lawyer sa pleadings niya, ang daming sinight na cases, but verifying those cases, no, wala pala. No? So, ang assumption or presumption is that lawyer merely used AI, no, in doing the pleading that he submitted before the court. So, misleading na yun the court. So, that lawyer violated this canon. So Section 8 contains 3 distinct prohibitions, no? No misquoting, misrepresenting, or misleading, and then no passing off as one's own ideas or words of another, no? Yung plagiarism, no? Bawal yan. And then no asserting as a fact that which has not been proven. So yung mga misinformation or fake news, no? Hindi pa naman napoprove, pinopost nyo na. Kaya be very careful kayo. Baka meron kayong i-share sa inyong mga Facebook wall na hindi pa pala verified, no? Or gumamit kayo ng AI, hindi nyo verify yung sinite na jurisprudence, nag-hallucinate lang. O, lagot kayo later on. No? Pwede yung bar question. Very, timely. What else? Section 17, prohibition against solicitation. A lawyer shall not directly or indirectly solicit or appear to solicit legal business. So a lawyer shall not directly or indirectly advertise legal services on any platform or media except the use of dignified, verifiable, and factual information. Okay, so as to allow a potential client to make an informed choice. Okay, so ang general rule natin dyan is lawyer is directly or indirectly prohibited from advertising legal services except, no, ito yung mga keywords nyo, use of dignified, verifiable, and factual information only. And then it should not be self-laudatory. Bawal. Okay. Okay, so advertising is permitted if it is dignified, verifiable, factual, and not self-laudatory. So, ito yung important provision there. Okay, so this is a 2019 bar exam question. Is the advertisement proper? Explain. So, a lawyer advertised in the newspaper the following: expert in annulment of marriage, fast and sure, consult anytime. Or, di siya na, no? Expert daw siya, mabilis daw, consult anytime. O, is the advertisement proper? Siyempre hindi, no? No, the advertisement is not proper. So under the CIPRA, a lawyer shall not directly or indirectly advertise legal services on any platform or media except the use of dignified, verifiable, and factual information. And in no case shall the permissible advertisement be self-laudatory. The Supreme Court has held that a lawyer cannot, without violating the ethics of his profession, advertise his talents or skill in a manner similar to a merchant advertising his goods. The best advertising possible for a lawyer is a well-merited reputation for professional capacity and fidelity to trust, which must be earned as outcome of character and conduct. So for this legal basis, no, you can simplify this. No, mahaba-haba lang ito for purposes of discussion, but you can simplify this for purposes of bar exam. Okay, for the application, here, while the advertisement or solicitation of legal services are not entirely prescribed, this should be made in a dignified manner. The use of phrases such as expert in annulment of marriage, fast and secure, and consult anytime are undignified, self-laudatory, and unfair claim regarding the lawyer's qualifications of legal services. Thus, the advertisement is not proper. Okay, kung napapansin niyo 'no, in your application, you need to write yung mga important words ha, or yung mga important facts like this. So, pwede niyong i-quote again, expert in annulment of marriage, no? Yung mga important details, ilagay niyo sa application para makita ng bar examiner that you really know, no? Yung pag-apply niyo ng legal basis niyo doon sa application or sa problem, nakikita ng bar examiner na tama ang inyong application. You will be able to point out, no? The issues, no? The issues involved. So, important yan ha sa inyong application. Kasi yung iba, sa application, napapansin ko sa mga kino-coach ko, no? Nakakalimutan o hindi na papangalanan yung parties, hindi nalalagay yung arguments nila or yung contentions nila. It's more on nalilay down lang nila yung mga rules, yung legal basis. So, hindi siya complete application. Kasi hindi mo na pinpoint kung ano yung mismong problem or issue doon sa facts given. Okay? So, yun ang aking tip sa inyo. Next, section 19, sub judice rule. A lawyer shall not use any forum or medium to comment on a pending proceeding that may sway public perception or impute improper motives against a judge. So, a lawyer must not use the media to gain an advantage in a client's case. So, this includes using publicity to pressure or embarrass the other party, making public comments about a pending case that could affect the court's decision, or using media attention to force the other side to give in. So these are unethical and violate the sub judice rule and are not protected by freedom of the press. O kapag ka meron kayong kliyente, high-end client yan, tapos biglang may mga reporters, tatanungin ka, o attorney, anong sa tingin nyo? Malakas ba yung kaso nyo? Huwag kayong magko-comment. No? Sabihin na lang, hayaan na natin ang proceeding, antayin natin ang court decision. Okay? So, you are not allowed, no, of making public comments about a pending case. Otherwise, you will violate the sub judice rule. Okay, so for responsible use of social media, this is from section 36, no, to 44. So this is entirely a new section, no, under CIPRA. So lawyers must not post false or unverified statements or use social media to influence court personnel. So, yan, duty, understand the social media, okay? And then, no disinformation, yan, knowingly or maliciously post, share, upload, no? Otherwise, or otherwise disseminates false or unverified statements. So, very, very careful kayo. Again, no? Pag nag-share kayo, nagpo-post, ingat kayo. Tingnan yung maigi. No? Kaya, sa social media, marami na dyang nako-complain And then, even though you hide, no, your identity, anonymous yan, still, no? You circumvent the law or the CIPRA kahit na hindi you are hiding, no? From using another name. Pwede pa rin kayong dyan, mahuli. What else? Here, no? Section 43. So, general legal information is permitted, no? Using social media, pwede kapag general advice lang. However, kapag specific set of facts na, limited legal service na yan, ay bound na kayo ng higher, no, ng rules ng CIPRA or ethical rules. Kasi specific set of facts na yan. Pero pag general lang, so pwede naman yan, no? General legal information is permitted. Okay? So 3 points the examiner may test, no? So a private account is not private. Okay? So kahit na naka-private ang account nyo, as long as you have your friends there, visible to your friends, yung inyong pinopost, so hindi yan defense later on. Na naka-private naman no? Nasa friends ko lang naman visible lang naman sa friends ko but still, no? Kakalat pa rin yan. The verbs are here, unverified or false statement. Pag nag-post kayo, you post, you share, you upload, or disseminate. Resharing another's disinformation is itself the offense. Ito yung kanina, yung crucial line between general legal information, legal advice. So, example, so there's a question in your social media page or Facebook, let's say, na may nagtanong doon. Ang tanong niya, what is the prescriptive period for an action based on a written contract? May nagtanong sa public forum. So, part yan or mag-fall siya under general legal information. And that is permitted and actually encouraged, no, as a duty to society. Kung may magtatanong sa inyong Facebook o sa inyong mga ibang accounts, no, general question lang naman yan ano yung prescriptive period So, pwede kayo sumagot. However, kung ang sagot nyo, based on the contract you describe, no? Specific na. Kasi you are just pertaining to the contract given, no? Based on the contract you describe, you should sue now and here is what to file. Pag yun ang sagot nyo, so specific set of facts na yan that will constitute now limited legal service. And then it immediately attaches the full weight of SIPRA, including the duties of competence, confidentiality, and conflict of interest. So marami ng uh, rules no under SIPRA that will govern if you are now engaged in limited legal service. So mas mabigat na. Okay, so careful kayo when you answer those kinds of questions in a public forum. No, pag abogado na kayo. Ingatan nyo, no? Pagka-abogado nyo kasi mahirap yan makuha, no? Hirap pong pinagdaanan. So, kailangan yung ingatan. So, you need to be very uh, careful and of course, alam nyo dapat, no, yung itong legal ethics. You should know this by heart. No, hindi lang for purposes of bar exam, pero dapat you should know this and understand your legal ethics by heart. Okay. For this contemporary issue, lawyers acting as vloggers or influencers who discuss the merits of their pending high-profile cases on YouTube or Facebook to garner public sympathy. O, bawal yan, no? Meron ng case yan eh. Case, high-profile case nila. O, bawal yan. Yung mga ganyan na lawyers. McBar drill, did Attorney Viral commit any ethical violations? So let's read. Attorney Viral is representing a famous celebrity in an annulment case. Annoyed by the slow pace of the trial, Attorney Viral posted a video on TikTok explaining his client's side of the story. O, di ba uso ngayon yan? May mga TikTokers. No, showing snippets of the adverse parties' alleged infidelities and complaining that the judge is clearly biased and incompetent. O, dinamay niya pa si judge. The video went viral. Lagot siya ngayon. So, Attorney Viral committed several ethical violations under SIPRA. Under the SIPRA, a lawyer shall not use any forum or medium to comment or publicize opinions pertaining to a pending proceeding that may sway public perception or impute improper motives against any of its members. Furthermore, the SIPRA requires a lawyer to ensure that their online posts uphold the dignity of the legal profession and maintain respect for the law. Here, the annulment case is still pending. By posting the details of the case exposing evidence to on TikTok and publicly accusing the judge of bias and incompetence, Attorney Viral violated the sub judice rule. His actions were designed to sway public perception and tarnish the court's integrity, directly contravening his duty to use social media responsibly. Therefore, Attorney Viral is administratively liable for violating the sub judice rules and guidelines on the responsible use of social media. Pwedeng itanong din yan. Next. This is a 2024 bar question. May the Supreme Court discipline Attorney Diwata for her social media activities? Let's read. Attorney Diwata, a suspended lawyer, created a professional social media page and maintained poster accounts which she used across various social networks. Attorney Diwata, during her live stream, spread fake news that the court's strategic plan for judicial innovations 2022 to 2027 failed to achieve its major target outcomes and had prejudiced legal effect. Sorry. Let's have break. May tumatawag sa akin. Okay, so sorry for the interruption, no? Okay, let's proceed. All right. So, particularly, Attorney Diwata launched a social media campaign against the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability and claimed that it is akin to an ex post facto law because its provisions are given retroactive effect. Now, the question: may the Supreme Court discipline Attorney Diwata for her social media activities? So, explain. Yes, no? So Supreme Court may discipline Attorney Diwata for her social media activities for violation of the CIPRA on the responsible use of social media. Under the CIPRA, a lawyer shall ensure that his or her online posts, whether made in a public or restricted privacy setting, still holds an audience, uphold the dignity of legal profession. Also, a lawyer shall not knowingly or maliciously post, share, upload, or otherwise disseminate false or unverified statements, claims, or commit any act of information or disinformation, and shall not create, maintain, or operate accounts in social media to hide his or her identity for the purpose of circumventing the law and provisions of the CIPRA. Here, Attorney Diwata failed to uphold the dignity of the legal profession and to shield it from disrepute when she created professional social media and poster accounts to spread fake news claiming the court's strategic plan for judicial innovations failed to achieve its major target outcomes. No, she also concealed her identity through these poster accounts in an attempt to circumvent the provisions of the CIPRA when she disseminated false claims that the CIPRA is akin to ex post facto law. So kung papansin niyo, no, kung maraming siyang ginawang violations at ang tinatanong naman dyan is kung ano yung na-violate niya. So you need to address all of the violations. Huwag lang kayo mag-focus sa isa. No, parang to, meron siyang ginawang poster account, expression ng fake news. So you need to address all the issues raised. Okay? So clear tayo dyan, ha? So, Canon 3. Okay? So Canon 3 is what? It has 56 sections. Oh, napakadami. No? So when you say fidelity, it means what? You are loyal, no? Loyal to the court, no? To the law of the land, to the administration of justice, and to your client, no? So fidelity pertains to a lawyer's duty to uphold the constitution and the laws of the land, to assist in the administration of justice, and to advance or defend a client's cause with full devotion, genuine interest, and zeal in the pursuit of truth and justice. Canon 3 is the operational core of the code. So we have here 6 blocks or 6 categories, no, or 6 clusters. Kasi mahaba-haba ito eh. So the first one, sections 1 to 12 about the relationship, no? The fiduciary relationship. What else? Conflict of interest, yan, sections 13 to 22. Duties to the profession and public, sections 23 to 26 and 34. Confidentiality rules, so sections 27 to 32 about limited legal practice, and then about the money or professional fees, no? Kung pwede ba kayong mag-borrow, no? Or pwedeng ba kayong mag-lend, no? Allowed ba yun? Mag-lend to your client or mag-borrow from your clients? And then, about the termination, no? Of a lawyer-client relationship. So, mahaba-haba ito, no? 56 sections. So, need to familiarize yourself, no? So, for bar topics, ito yung mga usual, no, questions in the bar exam. So, we have here conflict of interest. Yan, dalas din yan. So, a lawyer cannot represent conflicting interest, no, without written informed consent from all parties. So, titingnan nyo kung may conflicting interest, kung same ba yung hinahandle nyo, no, kung meron kayo tatanggapin na isang action or proceeding na conflicting doon sa or opposite or contrary doon sa client's cause nyo. So, kailangan hindi nyo siya i-accept, no? During our time, may ganyang question. 2022, bar exam, no? May conflicting interest question. What else? Romantic relations. The CIPRA explicitly prohibits a lawyer from having, dating, romantic, or sexual relations with a client during, no? Take note, during the engagement. Oh, bawal. Unless the relationship existed before the lawyer-client relationship commence. Okay? Pero pag during, no, bawal kayo makipag-date. Limited legal services. Section 35, so this regulates quick legal consultations when continuing legal service is not expected. Even in these limited services, confidentiality and conflict of interest rules strictly applies. Applicable pa rin, no? Confidentiality kahit na mabilis na discussion lang yan with your client. Okay? One-time engagement lang, still. You are required, no, to follow these confidentiality rules. So this includes being appointed as counsel de officio only for arraignment purposes or special appearances, like giving advice, drafting legal documents, or provide legal assistance. And then, prohibition on lending or borrowing. A lawyer cannot borrow money from a client unless fully protected by independent advice, nor lend money to a client except only to advance necessary legal expenses. So we will discuss this further. Okay. So, lending to a client, no, that is prohibited, no? Bawal kayong magpautang sa inyong kliyente. That is the general rule. Kung magiging champertus contract yan eh. Bakit? Kasi if you will lend to your client, no, during the proceeding, meron ka ng personal stake doon sa kaso. No, bawal yun. Kasi magkakaroon ka, parang may vested interest ka na dyan eh. Except, no, may exception tayo dyan, urgent and justifiable circumstances. And then, if you just need to advance your professional fee, ikaw muna magabayad, no, yung mga kailangan bayaran sa court, so pwede rin naman yan, no, necessary expenses lang in the matter being held, no, this is not covered by the rules. So pwede kayo mag-advance ng expenses, then singilin nyo na lang si client later on. So yun ang allowed. No, pero kung magpapautang ka lang, no, bawal yun. And then borrowing from a client, as a general rule, that is also prohibited. No, bawal ka mangutang sa kliyente mo. Kasi syempre, yung may exercise influence, mahihiya yung kliyente na hindi magpautang. So, binabawalan yan, no? Kasi baka hindi lang makatanggi yung client. Ngayon, meron tayong exception. Unless the client's interests are fully protected by the nature of the case or by independent advice. Okay? So, take note of that. Unless the client's interests are fully protected. We will be having some examples later. And then, exception to the exception, this rule, no, yung borrowing from a client does not apply to standard commercial transactions for products or services the client offers to the public in general, or where there is an existing or prior business relationship, or where there is a contract between the lawyer and the client. So let's say, no, yung kliyente mo ay isang lending company. Commercial transaction na yun, na umutang ka doon sa lending company na yun, and it happened na kliyente mo rin siya. Pwede yun, allowed. Kasi lending company, yun ang kanyang business, yun ang kanyang negosyo. Okay? Pwede itanong din yan sa bar exam. Contemporary issue, lawyers taking advantage of vulnerable clients by entering into romantic relationships or borrowing money from them during the pendency of the case. Okay, so ito yung mga pwedeng itanong in your bar exam, no? Engage in romantic relationships or borrowing money from a client. Okay, question. Has Attorney Romeo violated the CIPRA? Attorney Romeo was hired by Juliet to handle her annulment case. During the pendency of the proceedings, Romeo and Juliet fell in love and started dating. Attorney Romeo also borrowed 100,000 from Juliet to renovate his law office, promising to pay her back once the annulment was granted. Tingnan nyo ha, ilan ang issues dyan? Na-fell in love siya, dating, romantic relationship, and then second, nangutang siya, borrowed money from Juliet. 2 issues agad. Suggested answer, yes, Attorney Romeo committed ethical violations under the CIPRA. Under the CIPRA, a lawyer is strictly prohibited from having dating, romantic, or sexual relations with the client during the engagement unless the consensual relationship existed before the client-lawyer relationship commenced. Additionally, the CIPRA strictly prohibits a lawyer from borrowing money from a client during the existence of the lawyer-client relationship unless the client's interests are fully protected by independent advice. So in this case, Attorney Romeo and Juliet's romantic relationship developed during the pendency of the annulment proceedings is squarely violating the strict prohibition against dating clients. Yung first issue, no? Furthermore, for the second issue, Attorney Romeo abused the fiduciary trust of his client by borrowing 100,000 for his personal office renovations, an act which compromises his professional independence and exploits the client. Therefore, Attorney Romeo is administratively liable for violating the rules on romantic relations with clients and the prohibition against borrowing money from a client. So you address both issues. Another question. Is Attorney Ray administratively liable for borrowing money from his client? Explain. Let's read. Megaland Corporation, a company engaged in the financing and lending business, retained the legal services of Attorney Ray's law firm. During the existence of this lawyer-client relationship, Attorney Ray applied and obtained a loan for 15 million from Megaland. Umutang siya, no? 15 million, ang laki, no? To fund his separate business venture. It was established that Attorney Ray had previously obtained a 500,000 loan from Megaland a year prior, which he had faithfully and fully paid. When Attorney Ray's business venture failed due to a poor economic climate, he struggled to fully pay the 15 million loan. Aggrieved Megaland Corporation filed a disbarment complaint against Attorney Ray, arguing that he committed an unethical act by violating the strict prohibition against lawyers borrowing money from their clients. O sa tingin nyo, is Attorney Ray administratively liable for borrowing money from his client? Titingnan nyo, ano ba yung exception? Ano ba yung exception to the exception? Diba sabi doon, kapag a commercial standard transaction siya, exception siya from the general rule. Ano bang sabi rito sa Megaland? Engage in the financing and lending business. Ibig sabihin, commercial transaction ni Megaland yan. Nagpapautang talaga siya. Okay? So, the suggested answer is no. Attorney Ray is not administratively liable for borrowing money from Megaland. Under the CIPRA, a lawyer is generally prohibited from borrowing money from a client during the existence of the lawyer-client relationship. However, the prohibition does not apply to standard commercial transactions. Okay? In this case, the loan transaction is excluded from the general prohibition. First, the subject loan is a standard commercial transaction relating to the business of Megaland, which is explicitly engaged in the lending and financing business. Second, Megaland had an existing prior business relationship with Attorney Ray as evidenced by a previous loan. Alright? So, hindi siya magiging administratively liable. Pasok siya sa exception. So, you will not held administratively liable for the following. Okay? Standard commercial transaction, there's an existing or prior business relationship, and contract, or there's a contract covering the transaction. So in these cases, the client's interests are safeguarded through formal agreements or through the client's knowledge of the business arrangement, ensuring that the transaction does not compromise the lawyer's duty of trust and loyalty to the client. Okay, so that is under the admin case number 13361, February 12, 2025. O, bago lang ha? 2025 lang ito. Baka itanong sa inyo to. No, tinatanong ko to sa mga tinuturuan ko. Itong Megaland case na to. Itong case na to. Admin case number 13361. Baka itanong yan. 2025 case. Okay. Next, canon. Canon 4 na tayo. Competence and diligence, 10 sections. So, important provisions here. So, here, a lawyer must deliver legal services that are competent, efficient, and consensuous. So, important provisions, section 5 and 6, a lawyer must promptly give an objective assessment of a case merits and regularly inform the client of the status of the matter. And then, it's important ha, you need to update your client. Okay? And then extension of time to file. A lawyer shall avoid asking for an extension of time to file any pleading except for good cause. If an extension is granted, the lawyer must not let the period lapse without submitting the pleading. So a lawyer shall be thorough in research, preparation, and application of the legal knowledge and skills necessary for an engagement. Of course, you need to be competent, no? Okay, you need to do your research and you need to prepare, okay? Before going to court, before presenting your client, you need to be prepared. And also, before taking the bar exam, you need to be prepared, no? Tulad ng ginagawa nyo ngayon, this is your preparation. So a lawyer who is engaged in business or other non-legal profession shall likewise observe the ethical duties and responsibilities of lawyer under the CIPRA. O tingnan nyo yan ha. Very encompassing tong SIPRA natin, no? A lawyer who is engaged in business. So kahit na business mo yan, na hindi naman law-related, hindi naman practice of profession, or other non-legal profession. Kahit na hindi ka nagbibigay ng advice, sabihin natin, meron kang cafeteria, meron kang coffee shop, hindi naman related yun sa pagbibigay ng advice, no? Still, you need to observe ethical duties and responsibilities of a lawyer, no? Kaya very high ang standard sa atin. So, under administrative case number 6733, 2012 case, once a lawyer receives the acceptance fee for his legal services, he is expected to serve his client with competence and attend to his client's cause with diligence, care, and devotion. Ito yung kwento nito, no? May acceptance fee in-engage si Attorney Bautista ng kanyang client, no? Acceptance fee, 15,000. Ngayon, hindi siya nakapag-file ng necessary pleading, no? Hindi niya nagawa, no? She was not able to perform the obligations, no? That she needs to do. Sabi ng kliyente, attorney, i-refund ko na lang yung engagement fee or yung acceptance fee mo, no? Nire-refund niya yung 14,000 ang nire-refund kasi yung 1,000 yun na yung may pinag-file, no? So, sabi ng attorney, ayaw niya i-refund kasi nag-research na raw siya eh. Meron na raw siyang research na ginawa. Pero anong sabi ng Supreme Court? I-refund mo. No? Pinarefund sa kanya yung acceptance fee niya. No? So, 15,000, pinarefund yung 14,000 kasi hindi niya na-comply lahat or nagawa lahat ng kailangan niyang gawin. Okay, so if you have your client, you need to what? Observe diligence, care, and devotion. Huwag niyo pahabayaan. Contemporary issue, the recurring gross negligence scenario where a lawyer fails to file an appellant's brief or a position paper, leading to the dismissal of the client's case and subsequently ghost. O, di ba? Ang ghosting, nangyayari rin dito, huwag niyo gagawin yan. Huwag niyo i-ghost ang client niyo. Pag hindi niyo kaya humawak ng maraming kaso, huwag kayong humawak. Hindi yung tanggap lang ng tanggap ng kliyente. Ano na pala schedule niyo, puno na. Case you need to be, what? Organized. Okay? Kasi magiging, maninineglect nyo lang yan eh. Ma-admin case pa kayo, di ba? Hmm. Here, so let's read the MacBar question. Pedro hired Attorney Sloth to appeal his labor case before the NLRC. Attorney Sloth filed a notice of appeal and subsequently requested a 15-day extension to file the required memorandum of appeal, citing a heavy workload. OPC daw siya. The NLRC granted the extension. However, Attorney Sloth completely forgot the new deadline and failed to file the memorandum, resulting in the dismissal of Pedro's appeal. When Pedro inquired about the case, Attorney Sloth ignored his calls. O, di ba? Hindi na nga siya nakapag-file, no, within the deadline set, hindi niya pa ina-update si Pedro. O, dalawa na naman yung na-violate niya. So, is Attorney Sloth administratively liable? Of course. No? Siyempre. Yes, Attorney Sloth is administratively liable for gross negligence and lack of diligence. So under the CIPRA, when an extension of time to file a pleading is obtained, the lawyer shall not let the period lapse without submitting the court's submission, except upon the client's decision not to pursue the case. Furthermore, CIPRA requires a lawyer to regularly inform the client of the status of the case and respond within a reasonable time to request for information. Again, take note ha, paulit-ulit ako. Pag dalawang issue na raise, dalawang violation, dalawang inyong legal basis. Likewise, in your application, dalawa din. Now here, Attorney Sloth requested an extension of time but still failed to file the memorandum of appeal, causing Pedro to lose his case. So this constitutes gross negligence. Worse, Attorney Sloth abandoned his duty to keep his client updated by ignoring Pedro's calls. A heavy workload is never a valid excuse, no, for failing to meet jurisdictional deadlines or for neglecting a client's cause. So, hindi yan excuse ha, na busy kayo. Tinanggap nyo eh. Alam nyo busy kayo, tinanggap nyo. Dapat hindi na in the first place. Okay? Thus, Attorney Sloth is administratively liable for gross negligence and lack of diligence. Right? So, I hope nakakasunod pa kayo ha. I hope you're still with me. No, okay lang naman kumain kayo dyan ng inyong dinner, no, while listening. Okay, kinig kayo mabuti. Oh, itong pre-week lecture na ito, isipin nyo na lang, ito na rin ang review nyo for the bar exam. Total, ang legal ethics naman is Most probably, 4 questions lang naman yan, no? Pero still, 4 questions pa rin yan. 3 to 4 questions. O, sayang pa rin yun, no? Pag kahit hindi nyo inaral. So, ito, isipin nyo na, makinig kayo mabuti, isipin nyo, ito na yung review nyo. No? Para makapag-review pa kayo sa ibang subject, no? Okay. Canon 5, equality. O, 4 sections lang yan. Canon 5 is a modernized framework ensuring equal treatment and representation regardless of a person's background. O bago lang to, no, equality. Wala ito dati. O, non-discrimination. A lawyer cannot decline representation solely based on nationality, sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, disability, age, or socioeconomic status. So, kayong tumingin, no? Kahit sino, accept all, no? Lahat ng lalapit sa inyo na, basta lang as kaya nyong mag-render ng service. Section 2, treatment of vulnerable persons imposes a higher standard of service when dealing with vulnerable groups. No? For instance, the persons deprived of liberty or human rights victims, okay, victims of domestic violence, victims of armed conflict, or those who are socioeconomically disadvantaged to ensure meaningful access to justice. Okay? So here, a contemporary issue, baka itanong din sa bar, refusal to represent marginalized individuals such as persons with disabilities or members of the LGBTQIA+ community based on the lawyer's personal biases. O bawal yan, kahit ng personal conviction nyo, no? Kahit nasabi nyo, hindi kayo naniniwala dyan sa mga LGBTQIA+ community. But still, kung may lumapit sa inyo, entertain nyo, no? You disregard your personal biases. You act as a lawyer, no? Hindi naman pinag-uusapan dyan yung inyong mga convictions. Alright, so this is a mock bar drill. Did Attorney Bigot violate the SIPRA? Maria, a transgender woman, approached Attorney Bigot to represent her in a discriminatory illegal dismissal case against her employer. Attorney Bigot openly stated, I do not represent transgender individuals because it goes against my personal and religious beliefs. He then refused the engagement. Did Attorney Bigot violate the SIPRA? Syempre, no? Bakit ka tumitingin sa kasarian or sa gender? Bawal yun. No? Nasa SIPRA na yan, yung equality. Canon, no? So yes, Attorney Bigot violated the SIPRA's canon on equality. Under the SIPRA, a lawyer shall not decline to represent a person solely on account of the latter's sexual orientation, gender identity, religion, or social status, except for justifiable reasons. Furthermore, SIPRA requires lawyers to be mindful of vulnerable persons and asserts that they must observe a higher standard of service to ensure meaningful access to justice. In this case, Attorney Bigot explicitly refused to represent Maria solely based on her gender identity and his personal religious biases. The legal profession requires lawyers to provide equal access to justice, and a personal prejudice against a specific gender identity does not constitute a justifiable reason to deny legal representation. Okay? So hence, Attorney Bigot violated the SIPRA's canon on equality. Baka may tanong din ganyan. Then last canon, Canon 6, accountability, no, comprised of 53 sections. Pinakamahabang canon ito, no? Ay, pinakamahaba, yeah, na sections, no, Canon 6. So, section 1 to 32, establish the nature of proceedings and the procedure. Sections 33 to 44, establish the offenses, sanctions, and their manner of impositions. And section 45 to 53, govern resumption of practice, reinstatement, clemency, the effects of disbarment, and suspension and cause. Then then Canon 6, no? Accountability, completely overhaul the disciplinary process by institutionalizing the quantum of proof. Ito importante, no? Quantum of proof that is under Canon 6. Ano ba yung quantum of proof dito? The burden of proof in disciplinary cases is on the complainant. Okay, so burden of proof is on the complainant. And the standard, no, quantum of proof is substantial evidence, no? So, pag sa complaint to establish administrative liability, no, kailangan substantial evidence. That's a quantum of proof. Pero, when a lawyer has been disbarred or suspended, if that lawyer is asking for judicial clemency, ang required na quantum of proof naman is clear and convincing evidence. Take note the difference ha. Pag i-establish lang ang admin liability, substantial evidence. But if seeking judicial clemency before the Supreme Court, clear and convincing evidence ang i-apply ngayon ng Supreme Court. Alright? So, clear tayo dyan sa difference ng quantum of proof, no? In those proceedings. So, disciplinary proceedings against lawyers are sui generis. It is neither purely civil nor purely criminal. They do not involve a trial of an action or a suit, but are rather investigations by the court into the conduct of one of its officers. So, not being intended to inflict punishment, they are in no sense a criminal prosecution. And also, the court may initiate no motu proprio, no? Kahit na walang complainant. Pag nakita ng court yan, meron kayong ginagawang mali, pwede, no? Motu proprio siya mismo mag-investigate sa'yo. Kaya ngayon, no? Sa social media, makikita na agad yan, no? Pag nag-viral yung post mo or meron kang mali, mabilis na ngayon, no? File ng administrative proceedings or yung court mismo, mabilis nang ma-erase sa Supreme Court yan. They can initiate, no? Those proceedings. Kaya ingat-ingat. Doctrinal rulings. The affidavit of desistance of a complainant does not warrant the dismissal of a case. Okay, take note of that, ha? Despite the affidavit of desistance, it will not dismiss the case. And then, administrative cases against lawyers do not prescribe. O kahit gaano katagal na yung nagawa mong kasalanan, no? Hindi yan makakalimutan, sabi nga. It does not prescribe. Only the Supreme Court may suspend or disbar a lawyer. Okay, so we have here classification of offenses, sections 33 to 35. So we have serious offenses, less serious, light, and these are the sanctions. So basahin niyo na lang yan. I don't think na itatanong pa yan, no? Kasi mga penalties na lang din yan eh. And then for the contemporary issue, the application of proper sanctions for handling clients' funds. O ito kasi, di ba, syempre, pagka mga staff or embezzlement, no? So ito yung mga nangyayari, no? The lawyer, no, will mishandle the client's funds or will use the client's funds to finance his own. Ganyan. So the precise quantum of proof required to disbar a lawyer. So pwede yan itanong. Okay, McBar drill, rule on attorney-wise motion. So from the question itself, alam nyo na kung ano ang kailangan nyong basahin maigi, yung motion ni Attorney Y. Ano nga ba yan? Let's read. X filed a disbarment complaint against Y for allegedly misappropriating 500,000 of settlement funds. During the IBP investigation, X provided bank statements showing the funds were transferred to Attorney Y's personal account, but X could not prove Attorney Y's guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Attorney Y moved to dismiss the complaint, arguing that disbarment requires proof beyond reasonable doubt because it deprives a professional of his livelihood. O, tama nga ba? Beyond reasonable doubt ba? Tama ba yung motion ni Attorney Y? So, Attorney Y's motion must be denied. Okay? So, tingnan nyo ha, ang question kasi, rule on Attorney Y's motion. So, wala kayong sagot na yes or no kasi you need to rule. Okay, so ang responsive answer nyo is either to deny or to grant. So in this case, Attorney Y's motion to dismiss must be denied. So that is your ruling. So under the CIPRA, in admin disciplinary cases against lawyers, the complainant has the burden of proof to establish allegations with substantial evidence. So that is the substantial evidence is defined as the amount of relevant evidence which a reasonable mind might accept as adequate to justify a conclusion. Furthermore, jurisprudence dictates that administrative cases against lawyers are sui generis and are not criminal in nature. Hence, proof beyond reasonable doubt is not required. Here, X only needs to present substantial evidence. The presentation of official bank statements showing the unauthorized transfer of settlement funds so Attorney Y's personal account satisfies the requirement of substantial evidence to prove misappropriation. Hence, Attorney Y's motion to dismiss must be denied. Right. So we're done with canons, no, under CIPRA. Now, we'll go to our remaining topic. Sana nandyan pa rin kayo, no? It's already 7:45. Okay? Magkape-kape kayo dyan ha, para hindi kayo antukin. Para hindi sayang ang time, since nakikinig na kayo, makinig na kayo ng mabuti. No? Okay. So, notarial practice, remote notarization, and then the new code of judicial conduct. Still part of your bar syllabus. Right. For the notarial practice, the promulgation of the rules on electronic notarization, no? Meron na tayo